This is John Kohler with DiscountJuicers.com. We're here at the trade show at the Tribest booth, and we're at Tribest Raw and Living Food Extravaganza. And I give a talk here every year, and what we're going to do today is I'm going to talk about the Sedona dehydrators. So let's go to the clip where I'm actually on stage sharing with the people here at the trade show about the Sedona dehydrator, and you'll also get to learn more about the dehydrator, and I'll make even some kale chips. So let's go to that clip next.
Welcome everybody, we're here at the Tribest booth, and what we're going to demonstrate today is the all-new Sedona dehydrator. So the Sedona dehydrator allows you to eat more fresh fruits and vegetables in your diet by dehydrating them, eating more fresh and natural unprocessed foods that you can make in your own home with the Sedona dehydrator. That's also what all these other Tribest products allow you to do. The juicers, the wheatgrass growers, they allow you to eat more fresh fruits and vegetables so that you can get healthier in the comfort of your own home. What I'm going to demonstrate today is we're going to make some what's called kale chips. So if you go downstairs to Hall E, there's many different vendors selling things like kale chips in little 3-ounce bags, 2-ounce bags, and 1-ounce bags, and they can run $3 or more just per ounce of these kale chips. But you can easily make these kale chips and a lot of other things in the Sedona dehydrator by Tribest. First, let's go ahead and go over some of the features of the Sedona dehydrator. I like this dehydrator a lot because this is a rear airflow dehydrator. This rear airflow dehydrator basically has 2 fans and 2 heating coils in the back of the machine, which heat up and then blow air across the produce that you put inside this machine. This is a smart dehydrator, unlike other dehydrators on the market, because it does have computer controls. It constantly monitors the temperature inside the dehydrator so that your results are perfect every single time. For example, if you are into living in raw foods, you can control the temperature to keep it at or below 118 degrees. Other competitors, dehydrators on the market, may go above the actual temperature setting that you set it, but not the Sedona dehydrator by Tribest because it's all computer controlled. Another nice feature is that on this dehydrator, there are basically 2 fans and 2 heating assemblies there in the back of the machine. Now this dehydrator allows you to save electricity because if you're only running your dehydrator half full, you could choose to use the fan and the heating elements on the top half of the dehydrator, and then you could not use the ones on the bottom half of the dehydrator. That way you're not running at full power, you're running it at half power. You're going to save electricity. The other thing this allows you to do is many people complain that the dehydrators currently on the market are too loud and too noisy. This one is in my test much quieter than another competing brand dehydrator, actually about by half. And in addition, they have 2 different fan modes. They have a night mode and a day mode. So the day mode runs at full speed, which is once again half as quiet as the competitor's product. And in addition, you have a button that you can actually turn this into night mode. Now what the night mode does, it basically runs the dehydrator fans at even a lower speed so that it's more quiet. So say you're having company over, you could turn the fans down. Say, you don't want it to disturb your family dinner, you could turn the dehydrator down so it's not going to run at full speed. Very intelligent design. In addition, you can set the temperature on a digital display here. It maintains complete accuracy. And in addition, they have a countdown timer. So no longer do you need to put all the items in the dehydrator and have it run and not turn off until you check it. You could say, okay, I'm going to dehydrate tomatoes today, put them in there, and it could turn off itself in 12 hours when the tomatoes are going to be done. Also, all these trays pull out for easy cleaning. They all come with basically a mesh sheet that you'll basically be dehydrating on. This is all dishwasher safe, so really easy to use. The other thing really nice about this unit is that it has a clear glass door. Now this is a real glass door. Unlike some other machines have a plastic door, you can see through there and you can see when your product that you're dehydrating is completed. So that's really a good benefit there. So what we're going to do next is we're going to talk more about dehydration and why it is so useful in the home. So how many people here are gardeners? How many people grow some food at home? Anybody? Well, I believe everybody should be growing a food at home in their own front yard garden. I do also teach and lecture people about growing food at home. I have over 377 videos on YouTube encourage everybody to grab a little handout that has my websites so you can learn about growing food at home, because you know what? We all need to eat. And you know, growing food is the best possible way to get any kind of food. I mean, yes, all the foods here are healthy and really good for us, but you know, growing your own food at home is better. And once you have these bountiful harvests of food at your own home, hopefully you will not be able to eat all the food that you're able to grow. I know I surely can't. I grow, you know, I don't know, 50 tomato plants, over 100 pepper plants, and I have such bountiful crops of things like peppers and tomatoes. So besides giving them and sharing them with all my friends, what do I do with all my bountiful harvest of tomatoes and peppers? Well, I take those, I come into the kitchen, I slice them up, and I put them into my Sedona dehydrator, and I'll make basically sun-dried or dehydrated tomatoes, which are right here. And I don't know if you've priced these guys lately, but sun-dried organic tomatoes can run, you know, $16 a pound. But when you're growing the tomatoes at home pretty much for free, you could make them and do a cycle in the dehydrator for less than $1, probably less than like about 75 cents to dehydrate. It takes about 75 cents to dehydrate your tomatoes to make sun-dried tomatoes, which in the store you would pay, you know, $16 for. Another use I like to do is sun-dried peppers. So whether you have hot peppers or sweet peppers, you know, my bountiful harvests basically get turned into dried peppers and dried hot peppers that I basically use in my recipe creations. Another use, and what we're going to do actually today, is we're going to demonstrate how to make what's called kale or collard chips. So many people you know, think, oh yeah, kale and collards are really good to use to steam up or to boil up, and you got to cook them to eat them. But no, you don't have to do that. You know, straight out of my garden, I like to pick these and actually eat them as my salad. When you pick them fresh off the plant, especially the baby leaves, they're really sweet. They almost taste like lettuce, especially if you're growing in things like compost and rock dust, which basically puts more minerals and nutrition back into the plants. Besides that, I can't eat them all as salad greens, so I have so many extra leaves in my garden. So what you could do, you could actually take these leaves and just put them into the dehydrator, you know, whole and fresh. They're going to dehydrate the leaves. You then take the leaves out, put them into like a blender, grind them up, and then you'll have your own green powders. Now, being here at the Health Show, we could go to some of the booths, and some of the green powders retail out at $30, $40 a pound. You could grow your own greens, dehydrate them yourself, and make your own green powders really simply. But we're going to get a little bit more complex than just making green powders today. What we're going to do is called kale chips or collard chips. So I was talking about earlier, if you go into Hall E downstairs, there's many raw food companies that sell these kale or collard chips. And I don't know if you've priced those lately, but I have. And they sell in little 2-ounce or 3-ounce packages of these kale chips. And they run approximately $3, $4 retail per ounce, because one bag of 2 ounces may cost $7. Now that's completely insane for what it is. I'm going to show you how easy it is. You can make those at home with the Sedona Tri-Best dehydrator. So let's get started. First thing that's going to really help a lot is you're going to need a high power blender. And what we're going to simply do is we're going to take our tomatoes. Basically how we're going to do this is we need to make a sauce that we're going to basically brush onto the chips or onto the leaves. So my base today that I'm using is these Roma tomatoes, organic Roma tomatoes. Now if you don't have Roma tomatoes, you could use, I like to use orange juice as my base as well. The basis for the sauce that you're going to make the chips are you're going to need a liquid component and then a solid component. So the liquid component today, once again, are the Roma tomatoes. You could also use something like, many times what I'll do is if I have extra oranges or actually sweet limes, I'll juice those in something like the Citrus Star juicer. You could juice a whole bunch of oranges and have the orange juice, fresh orange juice in the base of the carafe. Then you're going to add some solid items. So the solid items we're going to use today are the macadamia nuts, raw macadamia nuts, and also sun-dried tomatoes. For flavor, we're going to add some kimchi, so that really spiced it up. Kimchi is really high in probiotics, really good for us. And then for some additional flavor, we're going to add some bell pepper and a hot pepper. So first we're going to go ahead, cut up these tomatoes, add those to the blender and blend those up. So I'm pretty much done cutting up all these Roma tomatoes. It's always good when you're making anything in the blender to always add your liquid ingredients first. If you add your dry ingredients first, it's just definitely not going to work as well. So now we're going to simply blend these tomatoes up. Alright, so there we go. That's the base of our sauce that we're going to put on our kale chips. Next, we're going to add the orange bell peppers. Take out all the seeds. Now, I encourage everybody to eat a high percentage of fresh fruits and vegetables. In recent studies, there's less than 25% of Americans that are eating more than, I think, 5 servings of vegetables a day, which is really sad. We're here at a health convention and hopefully everybody's eating their fresh fruits and vegetables. How many people get 5 to 9 servings of fresh fruits and vegetables a day, or at least vegetables, maybe not even fresh? So I encourage everybody to eat the fresh fruits and vegetables. So the products here at TriBest allow you to eat more fruits and vegetables, and your customers, improve your customers' diets as well. So you should all be offering some of these products in your store, because that's what the health food industry, in my opinion, is all about. It's about eating more fresh fruits and vegetables, eating foods found in nature. This is the second bell pepper going into the blender. Now we got the hot pepper. Looks like a jalapeno pepper. And the hottest part of the jalapeno pepper is the seeds and this white pithy part. So if you like it really hot, you could put the seeds and all in. I don't recommend that, and I always cut them out. And I encourage everybody to use the ripe hot peppers. Normally people think of like, oh yeah, that's a jalapeno, it's green, but these also come in red. When the jalapenos get ripe, they turn red. And I prefer to use the ripe peppers whenever possible. If you grow them yourself, then you get to choose when you're picking them, not the farmer that dictates to you when you're going to eat them, because when they pick them. Many produce items that you may buy at the store probably aren't at their peak ripeness because they need to be picked early so that they will endure the transit and stay fresh for you without spoiling. So these are going to be some nice hot and spicy kickin' kale and collard chips. So just put those in. Once again, we got all the liquid items in here first before we start adding the solid items. Let's go ahead and pulse that up. Nice mixture right there. Next, we got to add my favorite ingredient, kimchi. Now, I have a funny story about kimchi. I was down in LA once, and actually there's this guy, Korean Dave, who sells at the Hollywood Farmers Market. So he has the best kimchi, good vegan kimchi. Bought it, and I was flying back to San Francisco, and I was eating kimchi on the airplane, and I guess the people in front of me were complaining to the stewardess on how something really stunk. So actually, it was my lunch. So they made me come back and actually cap off my kimchi and stop eating it because it's disturbing other people. I mean, I personally don't even like how airplane food smells, but I could probably complain till my heart's content, and they'd never put that stuff away. So there's the kimchi. Blend that up once again. Now that imparts a nice flavor, like a pickle flavor. You can also use sauerkraut. We have this liquid base. Now this liquid base, you could use for this, or this would make a pretty good soup. We did put quite a bit of hot pepper in there, so it'd be a little bit hot. But you could use this fresh. You could use that as a soup. You could actually pour this as a salad dressing to make a fresh salad dressing. So there's multiple uses for what you're making. And once again, we are going to use this as our kale chip sauce. Next, we're going to put in the macadamia nuts. So macadamia nuts are definitely some of my favorite nuts to eat. Going to blend that up. And it's always better, especially if you don't have a high power blender, to add a little bit of the nuts or a little bit of the dried food, such as the dried tomatoes, a little bit at a time, because if you add too much, it may stop up your blender. Now we're going to add some of the sun-dried tomatoes. All right, there we go. That's all finished. We got it all blended up. Now, you can make this sauce as thick or as thin as you would like, because what the dehydrator is going to do, no matter how thick or thin it is, the dehydrator is basically just going to evaporate the moisture off of the food, and that's all it does. And if you do it at a low temperature, then you're going to preserve more of the nutrition inside the food. That's why this buzzword raw foods now in the industry is getting so popular. People want the foods with the most nutrition in it, and the Sedona dehydrator allows you to do that in your own home. So let's go ahead and show you how easy this is to do. Open this up.
We're gonna just simply take out a tray, and once again, you know, this dehydrator is good for making these kale chips. You could just basically dry any fruit or vegetable, cut them up, slice them up, put them on the tray, dehydrate them, and you know, buying sun-dried tomatoes, as I did mention earlier, $16 a pound, and some things like, you know, whole dried peppers, whole dried sweet, actually I don't even know, I've never seen whole dried sweet peppers or whole dried hot peppers, whole or just in pieces. Very, very expensive, and you know, I get some amazing flavors with my hot peppers, much like smoked hot peppers. By just drying your own hot peppers without even smoking them, they can add some really intense flavors and unique flavors to whatever you're making. Also, I want to mention that, you know, dehydrating your foods allows you to preserve your food so it won't spoil as quickly, and you know, the shelf life of some dehydrated foods, depending on how much moisture you take out, can be a year. And especially after you take out any dehydrated food, you always want to store it in an airtight container. So what I like to use at home are the mason jars. You could also use these glass lock containers that have a nice seal on it. They offer that here at Tribest also. You could also use a Ziploc bag, which I actually don't recommend too much because they always seem to get a hole in them, and then the air gets in, then whatever you dehydrated goes bad. So that's not too good. But now simply all we're going to do is we're going to take our leaves, we're going to take a pastry brush, and now the traditional way to make this is that people would just dump all the leaves into like a big bowl and then just mush it all around, get some of the sauce on both sides of the leaves, but that gets really messy because when you get sauce in all the trays and you're going to have to wash them. But what I like to do is just lie out one leaf, take a pastry brush, and just simply, you know, brush this on. Real simple and real easy. And you know, once again, you can use this sauce as like a salad dressing. So you could make your own fresh salad dressings with the blender by just using the fresh ingredients that you saw me use. But what we're doing today is we're just gonna brush this stuff on. Real simple, real easy. And this is how they make all those collard chips or kale chips at the other booths. And it's just really simple, but you know, you need the dehydrator to do that. And once again, you wanna ensure that the temperature that you set on the dehydrator, in my opinion, should be 118 degrees or below, because that's the temperature at which the enzymes in the food start to degrade. And so by preserving the enzymes, you're going to have more enzymatically rich food that's going to be more live food. And you know, a saying I heard once from one of the guys I really look up to, Jay Kordich, and I know he's around walking the show somewhere, live food for live bodies. You know, we are all alive beings, and we want to eat live food so that we will continue to be alive. So real simple, just buttered up 2 leaves there. Let's go ahead and get another one. And I like to, you know, arrange these leaves on the tray so I could, you know, maximize the amount of leaves I could get on a tray. So once again, this is another way that, you know, if you're missing that crunch, like, you know, most people may not want to eat potato chips because they're fried in oil or, you know, whatever else, eating more potatoes. I mean, I think the U.S. government counts potatoes as a vegetable for our kids in the schools. So if you're trying to get potato chips out of your life, you can now eat these kale chips that are 100% healthy, in my opinion, hopefully grown, and you're using your own fresh greens out of your garden. So once again, my name is John Kohler, and one of my missions in life is to educate people about eating healthier. I do this mainly by my websites. I have a website, growingyourgreens.com, where I teach people how to grow food in their front yard. How I started with this is I basically took my front lawn, took it out, and started growing food in all raised bed containers. And I've learned over the years, I've been coming to this show for 10 years now, over the years I've learned that the best way to eat healthy is to grow yourself. Let's go ahead and butter some of these up. So when you do use the dehydrator to dehydrate your food, whether they're the kale chips, whether they're the sun-dried tomatoes, whether you're making your own granola, you can make your own granola in the dehydrator. You could take these foods and say you're going hiking. You could pack those with you, and now you have basically, you could dehydrate literally this whole bell pepper. Let me show you how easy that is. I mean, simply to dehydrate this bell pepper, all you need to do, slice it fairly thin, small pieces like this. And we're just gonna go ahead and put it on the tray. That's all the preparation required. You could then take these on the airplane if you travel, take these hiking,
really convenient. You could have a stash in your car so you could eat healthy on the run. And imagine if you grew these and then you dehydrated them. I think that's really where the industry should be going, and is to teach people to grow their own food and to eat the food that they grew. I encourage people when they're growing food to grow in things like compost, organic compost, and rock dust minerals so that they'll have the richest food. If you add the rock dust minerals to the soil, it'll add the minerals or the trace minerals back in the soil, which then will give the plant all the minerals it needs to be healthy and also be more bug and disease resistant. But more importantly, when you grow in mineral-rich soil, the plants absorb the minerals, and then when we eat the plants that were grown in the mineral-rich soil, then we will get the minerals how we should from nature. That's how easy it is to dehydrate a bell pepper. Just slice it up. Once again, let's go ahead and put some of these in fresh. I mean, we could just dehydrate, once again, the kale. Just take the fresh kale, put it in there, dehydrate this up, it'll come out all dry. These are great for snack. You could dip them into like a guacamole and eat them. You could also take these, put them in a blender craft that's dry, powdered up. You could make your own green powders. Really handy to have this Sedona dehydrator by Tribest. Let me go ahead and explain another couple features about the Sedona dehydrator. You're gonna get with the dehydrator 9 standard trays with the mesh sheets, and these are what you use for dehydrating on. You'll also get a solid sheet here. And this solid sheet is actually not used for dehydrating. This is actually a separator tray. So this dehydrator has 2 heating and assemblies and 2 fans. So there's one that control the bottom half and one that controls the top half. Now, unlike other dehydrators on the market, if you only run your dehydrator half full, in which case I only just did fill up a few trays, you could choose to run only the top half and basically run half the wattage. And this is rated at 600 watts. So if you just run one half the dehydrator, you're gonna run at about 300 watts. Or if you have the whole dehydrator full, you could run it all trays, both fans. And so if you are running half of it, what you do is you basically put this separator tray in the halfway point and only run the top half. So that's this control right here. You can control the mode, or the trays actually. There's a little fan symbol here to show that the fan on the top half is going, or the bottom half, or both fan and heating assemblies. The other thing that's really nice, as I did point out earlier, is there's a mode on this. There's a day mode and a night mode. So on the day mode, it's running at full speed. The fans are at full speed. The night mode, it quiets down. So maybe your dehydrator's in your kitchen, you're having company over, you want it quieter, you can put it on the night mode. Now dehydration time is going to increase a little bit when the fans are running slower, but it's going to be more quiet if that's what you need. So to set this dehydrator, it's really simple, real easy. We're going to go ahead and close it up. We're going to go ahead and you can select from Fahrenheit to Celsius. We're going to put Fahrenheit, we are in the United States. And then you're just going to hit the set button, and you can see the temperature flash. And now we could go up or down, and you can see I set the temperature 115, 120, 116, 117. There's 118, that's where I want it. So once that's done, we're gonna hit the set button. Now it flashes over here to timer. So this lets you set how many hours you want to dehydrate it until the dehydrator turns off. So it'll turn off and not continue to dehydrate and waste electricity for you. So we're gonna go ahead and set that up. These chips, depending on how wet they are, can take maybe overnight, 12 hours to 16 hours. Why don't we go for, 19 hours, 17 hours. And once you're all set, you just hit this set button one more time, then hit the start button. And I mean, you don't even hear that going. I don't even hear that going. So this thing is probably one of the quietest dehydrators on the market that I have tested, and I have tested a lot of them. And that's how easy it is to use the Sedona dehydrator so that you can preserve some of your fresh foods and make more healthy foods in your kitchen. And that's what Tribest is all about. They're here with the Sedona dehydrator, the Green Star juicer, the Solo Star juicer. They teach you how to grow sprouts, wheatgrass. You can basically take the wheatgrass, you can cut this wheatgrass off, take it and put it in the dehydrator, dehydrate the wheatgrass, then put it in your blender craft, powder it up, and then make your own wheatgrass powders at home. You can do that with all your vegetables, and the Tribest Sedona dehydrator makes it happen. Thank you. I hope you've enjoyed this episode, learning more about the Sedona dehydrator and my demonstration and actually how to use it
Once again, my name is John Kohler with DiscountJuicers.com. Be sure to visit DiscountJuicers.com/YouTube for special promotional offers for our YouTube visitors.